Attention gamers. Last year I took a break from speedrunning, being diagnosed with chronic depression from playing League of Legends, to join a group of degenerate streamers who are so chronically online they can't even eat a potato chip without acting like the world is ending.
No, you need to do it. Bro, you have to go first. Bro, you're like
As we embarked on a noble and absolutely terrible anxiety-provoking journey where enough of us glorified internet beggars strive to survive long enough to slay one particular raging lava lamp. My part of the story involved conquering the hardcore elements and avenging the deaths of my fallen comrades, butt naked, with the goodest of boys by my side. Aside from one small hiccup involving a bullshit hitbox and 72 straight sleepless hours of my life, and I contributed to the war on Ragnaros. Well, kind of. And OnlyFangs was a success. But people ask what happened to OnlyFangs after that day. Well, some of our raiders lived out their lifelong dreams of being diabetic mall cops, while others were summoning the 2038 AWC champions into the world.
We've gotta send some RMP3s, man.
One of our guild leaders fell victim to an anger-inducing addiction.
It is insufferable.
While the other learned the hard way why you don't buy a sauna off of Facebook Marketplace, and pretty much everyone stopped playing hardcore. Well, everyone except for Pops. Pops kept playing.
Oh, this isn't gonna be good. This is the end. Ow! Oh, come on. Stoneclaw. Son of a bitch. Come on, he's gotta go away. Oh, there's the end of the paladin. Maybe not, maybe not. Not if I can get off of this cliff. Oh, son of a...
And in terms of what happened to me. Well guys, I met someone. A troll. Faced with our own sort of Romeo and Juliet issues around some political sham known as factions, we further complicated things one night when I forgot to wrap my wiggy. I'd have to watch him grow up from afar, him never knowing his real father, me thinking about a day when I could come back to him. Years later his mother fell victim to one of the hardcore elements, and it was then when he decided to find me, his father. He traveled day and night, walking across the entire world of Warcraft, through molten deserts and budget Narnias, until he found the town described in all the stories where he could find me.
Where be the Avatarmon?
But he didn't realize how much danger he was about to be in. Beaten to the brink of death, one of his arms was left crippled, never to gain the strength to fight or hold a weapon in it again. But what he didn't know was that someone spared his life that day. Someone to return him to the safety of his home and vow to watch over him as he would soon embark on the most important journey of his life. Alright, so I rolled a blue-haired troll rogue with just one remaining decision to make.
What am I gonna do?
My initial reaction was to keep this unchecked, as OnlyFangs is doing something called guild self-found.
So it's not guild self-found, it's guild found. Like, guild found is grouping with anyone and trading with guildies, whereas guild self-found is grouping with guildies but no trading.
But then as I thought back to my journey last year, I always tried to challenge myself and solo stupid things that Ms. Kiff wishes he could've. And while a lot of people who had never seen Barney's Scarab Lord series said flattering things, there was still the voices in my head. I don't really remember there being any evidence into me getting handouts or cheating, but the voices were there. And the worst part is they sounded like XQC.
Oh great, you can fail and cheat and buy another free 60 again. OnlyFangs so excited. Bunch of gold buying more like aspects of content right on.
So deep down I knew the only way to stop these voices.
Buy another free 60 again. Bunch of gold buying boosty cheaters.
I load into what I can only assume Carrot Top Scooch pubes look like, and despite the chaos of a new server on a new faction, I immediately felt something familiar calling to me. The head of employee onboarding Gornik says we don't brush teeth around here. We cut them, and has me beat up a few Howard imposters to prove my worth.
I have friends!
My homeboy Arwag teaches me the patented power of a rogue, a power that will surely come in handy down the road.
Boo!
Then things start to get interesting.
But I have discovered a growing taint here.
But the issue is everyone and their fat uncle was looking for this magical taint, and some of them were clearly more into this stuff than others.
Ooh, that booty.
This begins a painful process of trying to tag mobs before other people, and the only silver lining is that even the ones I tagged would still run to the guy who got second place, and I was gonna make sure they finished my work for me.
Mob tagging cheater deserves to die IRL.
That said, the taint struggle would soon be worth it. But this new weapon paired with me learning the move my dad used to conceive me, and a new monster was about to be unleashed into the world. It was at this time when a slave owner told me he was having issues motivating his staff of orcs, and let me explain why I was so excited to help out. You see, on Alliance things were simple. You had humans, shorter humans, even shorter humans, Bang Kai humans, and Howard of course. But on Horde it's not as simple. First there's the master race, the tall lean sleeper LeBron build giga chads, but then there's those forsaken fuckboys, the skinless brill babies that act like they are tripping on bath salts. The third is this diabetic breed of mutts from Mulgore, and then there's the orcs, from the same hometown, and to be honest I have nothing on them, so I'll just resort to the normal internet reaction to seeing someone more jacked than them.
Anything is possible. Completely natural, by the way. Peptide King right here, man.
So naturally an opportunity to beat the shit out of them was not something I would pass up on. The only issue was that they were working harder than an ugly stripper when I was watching. But I knew just the trick to catch them slacking. This brought me to my last quest, which consisted of nabbing some necklace from some SARMs abusing cave dweller, but upon seeing that a few others had the same idea, I had to roll up in style. They were against my initial suggestion to let me go first, but these rude sweat stains were all playing checkers while I was playing cheeseburgers, so you already know how this ended.
Infinity isn't ready yet. I need a target. I don't have a target.
And with that, my dominance had been asserted on the Trails Valley. The plan now was to take my talents to the south beaches of Senjin, but some first world problems, dude, was all like I took food to the valley and
trials because I thought they needed it and I like to help out. But they don't need any food.
And I'm thinking that's because they needed a taint, but then he said,
and I'm afraid of all the beasts along the way.
And while I thought he was just a bitch, I quickly found out what he was talking about. But I eventually arrived in the city, which was convenient because I had to take a few classes while I was there to learn new skills. As you see, last year when I needed a target dummy, I always had them because I was flat out given everything I needed to make them, but on a fresh self-found server you have to make them yourself. This means almost everyone is a miner, which is also why I was surprised Dr. Disrespect didn't want to play this time around. But after a few errands I finally arrived at the place that felt like home. Trolls everywhere with cocktail-flavored names, domesticated rideable T-Rexes, and the local ganja dealer who was clearly stocked with some good stuff, but the honeymoon phase only lasted so long as the first guy I talked to went blind from subbing to too many OnlyFans creators.
My eyes fail me.
And asked me to kill some crustaceans to help him bake a cake or some shit, and this seemed innocent until I realized that every single crab would be contested, and the ones I did get were certified prudes. The only silver lining was the warlock that I kept stealing tags from and making him finish the kill. But if you look back, I started this quest at 8:33 troll time, and by the time I finished this single quest it was an hour and a half later.
Finally!
That's like 6 levels in Ompi time, but it was worth it when he gave me his magical blinding jizz. Anyways, there's a dude named Master Gadrin who I like to call Echo Isles Elon, who was like, look, these islands may have a catchy name, I want to rebrand them as Island X, and I need you to cut the workforce over there by a crisp 70%, so I got to work cutting that waste.
No! I don't want him to start over the graveyard! No!
At one point a mid-level manager cast a spell on me which let me be as tall as Tyler 1 for a little bit. But after that mission and a quick genocide of some civilized pigs and I had done it. I hit level 10, which for a normal rogue would be the knees of the bees because you get a big power spike, but for me in my gimp situation, now is the time where I would be challenged more than ever, having to face all the dangers ahead. And thus begins the tale of Rav Jr., the one-armed rogue. I left the rogue trainer in surprisingly good spirits for someone who just learned he would be taking the concept of being right-handed to a whole new extreme, as I knew this meant my kill times would be longer than an OnlyFangs guild meeting unless I got lucky with a drop from one of these flapping moaners. But after one particular homicide I heard a familiar sound.
Wait a minute!
But then 20 seconds later a goblin was like, hey, hope you aren't still riding that fake dopamine from seeing green letters, because I have a piece of shit white sword that's better, and while a normal rogue would just dual wield both, remember I can't even choke my own chicken with my left hand, so I was back to white weapons only. To make matters worse, I apparently didn't have the grip strength in my one good arm to hold swords, which meant I'd have to go into the laggy city to learn how. 2 Google searches later and an orc-themed game of Where's Waldo, and I discovered that way over here in bumfuck Kalamazoo there's a guy who has the audacity to say this.
Here to learn how to wield a new weapon or just to waste my time?
Before proceeding to tell me that actually I wasted my own time because he just specializes in getting fisted. I wasn't totally bummed because I heard that the leader of the bloodthirsty, war-hungry, primally dangerous horde was nearby, and as a horde newbie I was dying to hear his voice for the first time.
All members of the Horde are equal in my eyes, adventurer!
But speaking of having zero regard for my own time, I then rode a large boat being suspended by a propeller-powered balloon into a different time zone, where I then conquered one of the Horde's hardcore elements on my first try, and 30 minutes after looting my sword I could finally hold it. And little did I know I would be needing this sword against the grave danger ahead. Now for those of you who don't know, Skull Rock is the cave that claims the most low-level lives of any place in the game. The Deathlog add-on displays hot spots where the most people die, and you can see this place is glowing like Shaq's knee in a 2007 Icy Hot commercial, as thousands have perished here due to it being more congested than a Taylor Swift concert with hyper respawns at all times. Day in and day out naive morons enter the cave, and even if you play it right, you can pay the price of their mistakes, as you will think the mobs are chasing them only for them to hit you with the psych bitch I'm slapping you now combo, where now you are stuck fighting that moron's mobs too, not to mention the biggest threat of them all. Last year I did a piss poor job of showing how dangerous this man was by coming in here super over leveled, but just to give you perspective, this is how it goes when 4 random people at his own level try to fight him.
Oh wait, heal me, Bean! Yo, dude.
Even when the king of hardcore glory himself tries to take this monstrosity on, he ends up sounding like me when my wife wants me to go out with her friends instead of playing WoW by myself all night.
No! Damn it! That's cringe.
So I wasn't going to touch that with a 10-foot pole, and if you ask me why, the short answer is I'm a League of Legends player on a one-armed self-found rogue, but the longer answer is that for every hour I play this game I have to stare at an outdated editing software for 10 hours, and when you have a sense of humor in 2024, YouTube sticks so many middle fingers up your ass, which means the only singles being shoved in my bra are from people using code RAVFRESH on Rested XP guides, the best leveling guides on the market. Using my link below, you could be faster than Ompi with these hardcore safe speed speedrunning arrow following guides, but also that I have to work a 9 to 5, so if you see me in a streamer's chat during the day, I'm most likely in a public restroom at work having a severe sense of FOMO. Which also means I literally don't have time to die to Orc Guzu and his Voidwalker because it would severely
Waste my time.
And that's my essay on why I wasn't going to attempt this. I was actually only in here on an errand from Thrall, and that was to get one thing and one thing only.
My eyes, adventurer!
And then I would be leaving this hot spot and going straight to a different hot spot to gamble my life there. Introducing Fizzle Darkstorm, the second deadliest Durotarian, and while I initially thought I was safe with a whole bar mitzvah's worth of people here, the second they saw me they all cosplayed a German car manufacturer and said we're outie. I tried to pull the green chode before his imp spawned, attempting to use line of sight to my advantage only to be reminded of my own answer to Soda's WoW quiz last year.
What is LOS? LOS is merely a myth in classic WoW. What? You stand behind a wall and that pillager still casts the last...
The little shit bolted me with shadows through the wall, plus his little fuckboy of fire joined the party, so I had no choice but to run. But Rab, the avatar conqueror of the hardcore elements son, wasn't about to wuss out of 2 risky stupid decisions in a row, so I cleared my way back in, knowing I would have to make my move as respawns would be coming any second. But I had a plan, which was to sleep the goblin.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Smurf of his domesticated Dobby. And do a spinning yoga crane kick anytime the green midget starts channeling. Slowly attack with my one arm, and then put him away with style. And the world rewards risk, as when I was telling my friend about how hard my heart was pounding from a fight that I literally didn't go under 80% health from, the next big albino lizard said I could use his dead red ballsack as some extra storage. But after learning to trust myself, it was now time to put my trust into others. Introducing the team starring Fat Ugly Cow from Mulgore Numero Uno. Then 2 more fat ugly cows from that same village of blood hoof buttholes, and finally 1 Giga Chad Voodoo Moan being played by none other than the Makgora champ, and I already knew who I was going to strategize with. It turns out Taurens are just playing this game on easy mode because of one thing.
More stomping!
Which led to reckless behavior like this.
Oh, it's a big pool. Holy hell, I'm excited for this.
I only trusted Snuts' calls so before one boss when he said this.
And then just be careful with the Fire Nova.
I made sure I would not even be in the same zip code as that bitch.
We're good, we're good.
We are good.
And when you are hard carrying the entire group, I guess you just get rewarded.
Ooh! Oh, that's Strav.
I would be lying if I said that my contributions to the group were anything more than a never-ending chain of cringy one-liners about every piece of loot that dropped.
Damn all this intellect gear, because Blizzard knows we need it with a group of 3 Torrent.
Okay.
And after seeing how much bullshit a Tauren player can get away with doing, I knew I would have to find other ways to get them killed.
We got a nice little breakfast, Sammy. Big 70, big talk.
And oh shit, this is not pull too many. Oh fuck. No! Is that Thorn we were gonna pull? Oh fuck. I'm not even risking this. I'm popping a fucking Swifty. I'm out.
Stay away from the voodoo.
It was now time for me to visit a town where many roads cross.
Welcome to the Crossroads, adventurer.
Turns out they are at war with some civilization of Amish pigs up north, and they wanted me to send them a message. I initially thought this was child's play, but I quickly learned that an innocent game of patty cake with one of them can quickly turn into a gangbang where I was blessed with too much height to escape. So I had to chug a Kool-Aid and learn to respect their power. But then I quickly learned how to deal with them. The water seekers are best edged to death as you wait.
Do not come.
And then you deprive them of finishing anything in their meaningless life.
I'm gonna come.
Rinse and repeat until they die of blue balls. The porcupines in the dresses are weak and deserve a death of shame. Then there are the hunters, which are near and dear to my heart. The best way to deal with them is to sleep the leader.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Hit a quick 07 for the hunter about to lose his pet as you shred his personal Howard. I wait for the patrol to not realize his incapacitated friend, and then I approach. Knowing the second he wakes up I will demand he not look at me as I'm killing him. I head back to Mr. Thork and tell him I absolutely humiliated them, and he says that while I was embarrassing their kind they identified the tribe's leader.
One of the Quillboars in particular is leading the raids. Green Snarl Snout.
I would have to find his place of spawn where he thinks he's safe and troll Batman this shit. Kidding, spotted a chest spawn, hashtag what up bitches.
Not enough energy. It isn't not enough energy. I don't have enough energy. Not enough energy.
People were starting to recognize me on the streets for having taken down the one and only Kreen Snarlsnout, but it turns out none of my triumphs were helping my people. There was a guild meeting in a few hours and the trolls were the lowest in the points. You see, the leader of the trolls, a moan by the name of S-Dingo, was meant to lead the tribe, but what he brought in enthusiasm, he lacked an attention span.
Insane is they'll contact one of the moderators and like, I want an unban. And the moderator will go and look at the log because we do a shared like document system, so you can't cherry pick mods. Because cherry picking mods is like a super. Did you just freaking die, dude? I drowned.
After multiple deaths he costed the tribe points and I was stuck looking for ways to earn some back for my people. I gathered materials and crafted bombs for the war. Then I looted one last fat upgrade and made my way out to earn the points for the trolls, and with that it was time. The only thing is I prepared for a 1v1 only to learn that bitch of a witch brought a bunch of friends to the fight, and if she was gonna fight unfairly I knew what I would have to do.
On the earth root, there he is. Hey, Rav. Ravmon, can you hear me, Rav? Oh, we journeyed across the desert to see ya, brother. Wagwan.
This floating hooker needs to die, man.
We be needing the
Rav,
point.
brother, take this.
All you.
Take this, Rav.
It's all you while I tank. We be dancing on this hookah.
That's right, man. I'll be remembering this moment forever. For the trolls, man.
On lower, we for the trolls.
Like dick.
We still came in dead last, which means even though we were the most choreographed tribe at the meeting, we were the worst. The winning team got to nominate one dumbass to choose items for his race from a tribute chest, so the undead chose Dante's to be that dumbass, and the fellow league player did well.
Item number 1, I want the gold sword.
Okay, you've chosen an insane fucking weapon.
But there were punishments for us coming in last, and the worst of them being that we would be sacrificing one of our own. Our old leader would be executed by his replacement, Vajan, queen of the V-tubing Yamans.
Everyone screaming, Taz Dingo!
And this event would serve as a message to all that membership in the troll people is a privilege, one not to be disrespected.
Let me give you guys an update-ish. The trolls got the lowest points this week. So as such, all of the trolls must clear a dungeon with 3 or less people before the end of the week. And they must not be a higher level than the last boss. All right, so bad news. One of our troll members who's going to endure the punishment today may not be able to make it. We have to replace it with another, or replace them with another troll. All right, let's see what it says.
When called to fight for one's tribe, the son of the hardcore avatar will always answer despite many believing we were being sent off to a certain death.
I'm willing to lay down my life for you.
We received gifts from the tribe to prepare us for this battle. Well, the other guys did, while I was the dumbass who was self-found, because like a few fatherless lobotomy survivors can't just enjoy a story unless it's sweatier than P. Diddy on MTV Cribs. But after a totally not 2 hours of RPing before the dungeon, it was time for us 3 to fight for our lives. I relied on the others to know things like this.
We gotta be careful with the blue ones.
And in case you are wondering what that means, this happened 5 minutes into the dungeon.
Oh wait, so, lot pulled.
We asked.
Ow.
We're not allowed to reset. Come here, come on me, so we don't pull more. I'm gonna dummy, and we're gonna kill one at a time, okay? Perfect. Yeah, kill the caster. Great.
Oh, they might go towards the boss.
But with the help of some clever engineering, we survived the first scare, which was assigned to take this seriously and definitely not be picking flowers while the other 2 were fighting, which definitely only happened once. I streamed the event so that Papa Soda would cast a concerned and probably judgmental eye over our attempts, but this also meant I got to learn what it feels like to be backseated by hundreds of contradicting kids for the next 2 hours.
Slice and dice your combo points before you switch target.
Dog use slice and dice.
Slice and dice is not worth.
The only people I would be listening to were the other 2 in here with me, and I was given one job.
Druid slumber. That's the only thing you need to pick.
A job that I crushed every time, like 30% of the time. But at one point we had a runner which totally would have wiped the group if I didn't save the day.
Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne.
We downed the first boss and I copped myself a fat upgrade.
Oh god, he's role-playing.
Things were going smooth until my tank desk popped his best cooldown moments before we would be fighting the final boss.
That's a 30-minute cooldown right there, brother!
A boss known to one-shot poorly equipped rogues like myself. But the trolls don't fear anything.
Enough energy. I don't have enough energy.
They're completely fine. This is easy.
Good job, Reynolds.
Yes!
Holy shit.
So it turns out there's actually one more boss after that guy, but he's kinda just like the piss after the jizz. Sure, it's nice, but it's not what you're there for, and with that, we survived our punishment.
Congratulations. You have done it.
You know how we be doing it, man, for the truth.
Well done.
And I would now like to direct your attention to Exhibit O-7 to show that I was only sort of dead weight in that run, and according to the blue font color on this weapon, the one-armed rogue stonks would be on the rise. But there was little to celebrate given we still had to execute our old leader, and I wasn't in the mood to entertain some greenskins Amber Alert, so when he asked me to find
some sign of my wife,
I looked at him and said, "Bruh, have you been on the internet? She's on that Lillian Phillips hot girl summer shit," and I showed him exactly where anyone can find Mancrick's wife, to which he said,
"You could help me. Kill them. Kill as many as you can. Bring me their tusks and we will celebrate their deaths together."
So you already know what was about to go down.
You are now in the presence of a king.
I told him I did my best, but I would have been there for weeks if I had to kill everyone that ever pegged his wife.
I understand. Thank you, adventurer.
Then it was time to learn the ways of the rogue, and here is where I should probably leak a DM for context. Asimo's found out that I am playing a self-found one-arm rogue and offered tips, to which I obliged, and the first of two was to read this quest carefully. Unfortunately, it said nothing about how to actually get onto the ship, but I eventually figured that part out, where I found myself in what felt like a bad dream where I would just repetitively open boxes with nothing in them while someone else was there failing her puzzles and messing up mine. I started to find ways to pass the time. Turns out we wanted different things, and she eventually left. At one point, if you didn't know better, you'd think I was watching that video of Mantric's wife, but after a short eternity I was done with my training and ready to open one last box. I couldn't put my finger on it, but something was telling me that things could go wrong in here, so like a midget at a urinal I knew I'd have to be on my toes. The box was green difficulty, so I figured I'd just outleveled whatever killed the moron before me, but then I heard it. 0G's pet bird spawned, obviously way higher level than everything else playing this game, so I stealthed and backed off. My plan was just to sneak past until... This was it. I was screwed until I remembered.
Read that quest very carefully.
Of course Polly wants a cracker, and with the advice of a friendly rogue, I passed the test. But don't worry for anyone secretly wishing for my death. As you see, I then came across a poster that basically says if you want to kill yourself from walking through this absolute dog shit zone, then go pull the big spider at the end of this path. And after being in Stone Talon for just 20 minutes, that's about where I was mentally, so I said sure, what the hell. The area was full-blown hyper-spawn status, but I was going to use one group to give me the proverbial Mario mushroom I needed to start my attempt. Turns out going for glory on a populated server is full of logistical issues, but I'll take partial credit for having the balls to try, and at this point I figured I might as well do something that actually requires a group. I immediately got a group, to which you are probably thinking streamer privilege, but then our tank apologized, went offline, and then the leader announces that he's never had sex before and leaves as well until it was just me. This wasn't going to stop me from going there alone, but without a group I needed help getting there.
Can you escort me past the Murlocs? I need to go to Westfall. Wait, why don't you just swim there? So you get on the Zeppelin. Make sure you're on the Zeppelin from Undercity to Gromgol.
In hindsight, I may have missed that last part, but I figured what's the worst that could happen?
Guys, if you're going to Dead Mines, don't take the Orgrimmar Zeppelin, ever. You take the Undercity Zeppelin.
Psych bitch, did I get you? Now 2 orders of business I had to take care of in Westfall. First, if you observe closely, this chick that I chloroformed, the observant will know she had something I wanted, something that would surely help me win the next Asmon Gold Transmog contest. The second matter of business was something I had to do for my father. I once heard a story of him butt-naked bare-knuckle McCurring the deadliest mob in Azeroth, and as his son I knew there was something I needed to do. Turns out I did fill a group for the Dead Mines. The only problem was this was our healer.
My hand's a little slimy.
And my guess is his hand being sticky had to do with the fact that his overlay has more hentai ass on it than an anime toilet seat, and my tank was Timber Lol. The guy who not only was the very first death in the guild, but also was caught leveling his weapon skill on the hardest boss in Wailing Caverns, which may or may not have ended with someone dying.
That's a misplay.
Not to mention sources were telling me he was 6 shots in, and based off of what I was seeing from his stream.
Alright boys, I'm gonna be back.
I knew the longer this run went on, the more sus it would get. Our healer kept disconnecting and our mage pretty much took every call we made and did the opposite.
I kind of think we polymorph. Okay, maybe he doesn't.
This meant almost every pull would turn into a certified shitfest as the only person I could trust was Waz, our hunter.
Alright, boys, I'm gonna be back in like 10 minutes. I just have to call.
Until he had to take a call and go half AFK, so yeah, what's the worst that could happen?
I'm killing Rav. I mean...
By the grace of some divine god we made it to the boat alive, but things were about to take an ugly turn.
Oh, they did pull. Let's jump down on
It turns out you can hop on this wheel as a quick get out of free jail card, but something went horribly wrong for our hunter. He was frozen and dazed alone with the group coming to kill him.
I might be dead here.
But a heroic act from his fellow Taran.
I got you.
A redemption arc for Timber the Wailing Cavern's weapon skill leveler bailed him out, and with that we survived.
I'm coming back for you, dog.
And at the end of the day, putting myself through the risks of this piss-awful group is worth it when the last boss has an insanely strong sword that he doesn't drop, but that's okay because at least there's the cloak that I also lost, and that was the end of my Deadmines journey, or how my healer would say.
We finally took down the liberal terrorizers. Good job.
But speaking of liberal terrorizers, it was around this time where some attention-seeking used tampon of a person managed to get his 30 seconds of fame that he will forever brag about at his pitiful cum dumpsters anonymous meetings as successfully getting the celebrity guest of this season killed. At times it did look like he might survive, but Tyler 1, being a fellow lifelong League of Legends player, knows better than anyone that sometimes a situation is just unwinnable due to someone else fucking it all up for you. This was a death that had to be avenged, and only one man was going to do it.
Sir, you cannot film here.
Shut up, man.
And only one man was going to do it as I went up to the top of that tower, and decided I was going to take him down while making his heel whore watch the whole thing. But not only did I have to fight off the mobs, I also had to fight off another person stealing my glory.
Amazing, dude. Level 23 versus level 16's dam.
And with that, Tyler 1 was avenged. I tried to be the bigger man with the sarcastic dickhead ruining my RP, but as I walked away I heard him say this.
By the way, I spit on your boar.
No one insults Howard, so there was only one thing to do. Turns out the Rizzler is a grade A pussy, and despite my efforts he refused to put his money where his mouth was, but it turns out risking my life in duels would pale in comparison to the dangers I would face next. The most protected tower in the Barrens that claims the lives of young rogues every day. Now before we get to this Tower of Terror and why other rogues can be found running from it like they have just seen Moon's leaked DMs, we need to back up a bit. First, it's worth noting that my self-found engineering reached a level that allows me to create something very special. A target dummy, which for the uneducated is numero uno on the list of ways to save your ass in hardcore WoW. The second matter of business is that I randomly got this obscure debuff called Freaky Freestyle, and there's only one way to remove it.
Who you be dying again, man? Why you be always in spawn? Long time, man, streaming away. It's time ya shave, ya look like the cave. Be cool, man. This ad be my vibe, man. Skate bay. So I take the bribe. With a German pro, you be looking glad. 2 blades rotate, best shave you ever had. Smooth or stubborn, get your desire. 3 blades spin sharp, catching every wire. Tested perfect, shown on this teddy bear. Keeps ya fresh, man, everywhere, anywhere. Trimmer be waterproof. Battery life bigger than Thor and Hoof. They be too jealous, so you know the deal. 20% off, free shipping, that's real. Come get a voodoo, man. It's the best, no lie. For a smooth clean shave, tell Miskiff to give it a try.
Okay, now if you recall last episode, Mr. Monotone Azimos offered me 2 bits of advice. Read the lock-picking quest carefully, which did save my life, but then also don't do the poison quest at 20. I figured +5 levels -1 arm would be okay, but when I asked if I was ready he said,
"Do you have a dagger?"
Now if you recall back to when I 3-man the WC, this little guy did drop. But I'm nothing if not a team player, so when my tank said,
I need that,
I passed, and apparently a level 3 dagger wasn't going to cut it, so I researched where I could find one with slightly more blue in the title and found my target. An E-Roo of M offered to help, but not everyone was thrilled to be a part of this.
No, wait, no. I just saw
What?
his Nah, dude.
What?
He's doing this bullshit RP fucking only playing with one weapon type shit. Nah, I don't want to
So, no, dude, I'm level 29. It's fine. It's fine.
Dog, he's gonna be fucking. He's literally gonna be carrying his dumb fuck ass. I just watched this video yesterday.
This particular undead must have thought his racial was named cannabis because I don't know what a level 21 was smoking, complaining about me being the one to worry about in an SFK and judging by his decision to walk to the very last pixel of a bridge before summoning me.
Let's summon him.
Who are you summoning? Bro, he was literally right there, like 5 feet away. You weren't trying to kill him, were you?
He was not to be trusted. We get into the keep of Fangly Shadows and Emmy immediately says this.
Rav, I will keep you very safe. I'm a seasoned tank player.
And in case you couldn't pick up on the sarcasm, maybe the fact that 2 minutes later I was tanking the first boss while she was popping her biggest defensive cooldown can help clear that up. We killed some balding ghost in the dining hall who dropped a fat piece of finger bling, and even though some people were only thinking of themselves.
I will say this ring is also an upgrade for me. Yeah, I could definitely use this.
I passed to the tank because I felt she needed the help more. And even though McConnell was crying like a tit-deprived infant about me being in the group, I think he was secretly happy to have me there.
No way, another locked chest? Wait, what the fuck? Alright, hold up. Okay. Now that's a crazy ring.
Then it was time for the last boss, and things were going well until the Archmage made Emmy dress up as her favorite Twilight character and charge our healer before getting turned into a goat. This meant he would be looking at me, so I chose to deal with it like Ms. Kiff deals with his taxes. Run away and hope they don't find me, but it worked out because the dagger, the whole reason I was here, the replacement for my level 3 weapon, that I would need to not die in the Tower of Terror, didn't fucking drop. And so the most epic part of this whole dungeon was the death roll that I had afterwards.
Wait, Rav, one death roll. You can call the bet. For street cred? Okay. You wanna start? Don't hit one. Okay, 50-50. You gotta win the 50-50.
You gotta double down.
He's walking away! Holy shit. It's your roll, brother man. Holy shit. Take 2 more steps back.
So I went back to the Barrens with neither street cred or a dagger, but then as I was continuing to do God's work by killing every Quillbore who pegged Mancrick's wife, this dropped. The exact thing I would need to face my fate, and thus it was time. It turns out some orc was repetitively getting pissed on worse than a stadium urinal, and I didn't want her getting me killed or cucking my glory, so I figured I would come back in the morning. Now the tower is protected by an elite dwarf, but once he found out who my father was, we were chill and it was time. The first thing I had to do was head over to this fun-sized orc and ask, is that a key in your pocket or are you just happy to not see me? It turns out you need a dagger because the brill bitches at the bottom of the tower get absolutely dicked by ambush. This is great until you consider this game was coded 20 years ago, and since I missed, I technically didn't get the tag on the mob that I one-shot and had to wait a short eternity until it was back.
One eternity later.
Bruh.
Then I made it up to the middle management layer, and according to my great uncle from Coldridge, I'm supposed to turn these kids into infected jizz puddles, but once again the spaghetti code in this game was making this difficult. But after 3 floors of butt puckering I was at the final boss. The cause of countless casualties, but I had my handy weapon, so it was time. I then learned that overthrowing the leadership at the Tower of Bug Blizzard Code came with the price of contracting some terminal debuff that is almost as bad as the one that makes me sing my sponsored segments. Turns out the only guy on Azeroth that can cure this is an insufferable douche canoe.
Do I look as if I care what you have to say?
But he cleansed me of my STD and taught me how to dip my weapons into Belle Delphine bathwater, which by my adequate sample size of one fight, increased my DPS by 3%, and I was ready to test the limits of this new power to the fullest. You see, in the bottom of the Barrens, another one of my great uncles lives in a tent. I heard stories about him being obsessed with some gem, and I figured a little family errand was in order. The only thing is, there's literally an achievement to do this at my age with how deadly it is, and that's because it requires you to enter a heavily guarded fortress full of armed chode dwarves, navigate through a hallway and down the stairs with multiple rooms full of multiple guards. At the very basement there's a full-blown dwarven Thanksgiving, featuring the boss, a level 30, and that's where I will need to go. This is no small task for a one-armed troll, as even packs of 2 are a slow and deadly process where even if I have one taking a nap so I can fight them one at a time, I have to chug a Kool-Aid just to survive. By the time I fight my way down to the basement there are respawns and thus no escape, with the tier being held in a box in the very back of the room. This would require careful planning, but upon seeing how it turned out for another rogue my age, attempting this seemed like a death sentence. But then an idea hit me. I would motivate the guy who literally almost got gangbanged by half of Ironforge to try it again, playing stupid and convincing him that the only reason all 70 of them came last time was because he body pulled, and that little bitch from Brill took my bait perfectly.
I can't carry anymore.
That was it. My one opportunity to outsmart the challenge ruined by my inventory space being tighter than a gnat's asshole, and considering he wasn't going to fall for it again. Plus the only other hunter that came just wanted to group. I'd have to throw the towel in and give up and let my people down. But then a blinding light appeared. Now where were we? Oh yeah, Dad distracts General Ginger Pubes and his butt buddies so that I can go in.
I can't carry anymore.
Turns out my inventory is still fuller than a house with Bob Saget in the 90s, so I'm forced to panic delete the jizzing pistol in my bag so that I could loot the tier for my homeless deranged great uncle. And that's the story of how a guardian angel enabled me to do a deadly quest that I had no business doing, but in return for risking 30 hours of progress I earned the trolls, a whopping 3 points. Turns out that wasn't even the deadliest thing I did that day, as I had to ride the elevators in 1K needles not once, but twice. And I also ran into an RPing cow named Only Walk, who by the looks of it deserves to have some respect put on his name for having zero regard for his own time. I then grouped up with some guildies for what was the smoothest dungeon run I've had to date.
Dog shit! Dog shit!
And seeing how RN Jesus Christ himself was blessing me so much, I figured I would put all this gear to the test after reading a little poster in the Mill of Tarn that a bounty was out for a few key targets. The first was some apple picker who slept with Bill Clinton or some shit, and she was an easy kill. Then I guess they threw a random citizen into the target list to throw people off, and the hardest part about killing him was the simp who immediately tried to avenge his death. The third was in the town hall standing nuts to butts with 8 of his closest homeboys, and the first attempt at that totally wasn't a fail. Eventually I learned about the power of not just busting into the room like the Kool-Aid Man, and this was successful in getting the cucks in the corner taken care of.
Oh yeah!
Then it was just a matter of one last pull and a bit of puckering. It's worth noting that some good Samaritan druid did cuff my balls with a healing touch at the end, but it turns out the fourth face on that paper would be in a cave that many others have feared.
If I go in there at 28, I'm just dead.
A cave that others, even in the safety of a group, are relieved to escape.
Oh my god, we made it out. Oh my god, we're safe. Holy shit, get me out of this.
A cave that glory-less pussies wait until they can get a full group for because of how deadly it is. But I, son of the hardcore avatar, was about to take it on alone. Now my tip when you are in a coal mine is to apply tetanus to your weapon, because you see, normally when these sexy shirtless hunks are about to meet their maker, they run to their nearest coworker shouting sexual harassment, then you have to deal with HR and the training videos again, and you get put on a list, yada yada yada. But when they have been infected with tetanus, they just hobble away slower than someone who just did a K-nutty leg day as you watch them suffer, knowing they aren't getting very far while laughing, and then I ended up getting more impatient than a type 1 diabetic at a hibachi restaurant, so I used my invisibility cloak to skip the part where a smart player would clear an escape path, because with one arm that would take a long time, so I choose to risk 30 hours to save 30 minutes. I think I found a nook where I can have a private conversation with him alone, but you know what they say, no shoes, no shirt, no solo poles, and unfortunately this was about to get interesting. And like that, I soloed what people sit in LFG all day to fight together, and even though an entire HR department was coming at me, you just have to understand that moments like these are just a test of faith.
Ancestors watch over you. Took the leap of faith, even though you had no guarantees that you would survive.
It was at this point where I turned 30, which meant it's probably time to open a 401k, but also that there would be a surprise party being held for me. Turns out it wasn't a party, it was a secret underground gambling ring, which was quite literally underground. Being led by some greedy finance bro, and as a self-found character I couldn't pay the buy-in, but luckily Sardako covered my entry fee.
Alright, we have two crowd favorites here. Unfortunately, they have to go up against each other in the first round. We have Ram versus Wake Wilder.
Guys, we missed
Alright, let's do this shit.
Let's go, Wake.
Let's go, Earth, brother. Move.
Oh, he's hitting you with the Taz Dingo. Wait a second.
Oh, shit.
That said, I was only here to accomplish two things. First, to roll a 69.
Here we go. Oh, a 69 from Ram. This is going to be really
setting the tone here.
And second to lose Sardako his money, and then I was on to more important things. You see, up until now I had done every dungeon, but outside of one quest reward my gear was looking greener than an avocado's asshole, not to mention my only weapon as an ambush spec rogue was white, which means someone else's vendor trash would have been my treasure, but for logistical reasons I was stuck with mine. But that all was going to change when the ghost of Howard's past came to bear gifts. Side note, the 2 mages in my group you just got out DPS'd by a one-armed rogue with a white level 16 weapon, but the days of the white weapon were now behind us. So I hope a few of you invested in the Rav Jr. stonks because they were about to be looking up. That said, my dopamine levels were about to be flatlined by possibly the worst quest I've ever done. You see, there's speculation around if Bigfoot exists, and while I can now confirm he does, there's a rod that he apparently holds and that very likely doesn't exist as shown by this montage. Wait, you didn't actually think I was going to spend hours editing every kill to show how stupid this game design is, did you? Well, you should know by now that I did. Now for context, back in that cave full of exposed nipple HR violation victims, there's actually a deadlier mob.
Bond. James Bond.
And even the best of WoW players are afraid to take him on solo, as he puts you in a 5-second stun and summons guards, and if you aren't careful you can just die inside that stun.
Just kill Foreman Bonds? I don't know if I can do it. Chat, I don't know if I can.
Now I may have done it with ease, which just goes to show that having one arm is still better than having no balls.
I don't know if I can.
Turns out Zaryu wanted to redeem himself for the Foreman Bonds incident by grabbing some random healer and attempting one of the deadliest dungeons with just 3 people in what will one day be remembered as the 5-armed No Morrigan. The one arm that I provided was carrying its own weight, but the 2 that Zaryu brought to the party seemed to enjoy tanking bosses in a spot where I would have to huff poisonous copium just to hit it from the back the way I like to. To make matters worse, I was more confused than a mosquito at a mannequin factory when it came to the mechanics in this gnomish Tesla factory. Not to mention our random healer, who Zaryu seemed to trust with his life, kept talking about how he isn't meant to be an undead and needing to go back to Elwyn Forest. As we got further in the dungeon, things were getting more sketch than a retired OnlyFans boy turned famous streamer.
Yo, Rav, that's you. Kill the machine.
But you forget there is ice flowing through these Senjin veins, and after a while we found our synergy, like 2 frat brothers in a gangbang. Him doing his family-friendly stuff over there, and me just laying down pipe over here. And with that, we made it to the final boss. A room that would lock us in upon pulling, with walking bombs which apparently require a ranged DPS in the group, which was bad because
If enough bombs get to us, we're gonna die.
But I wasn't going to let my friend Zaryu go down as a coward for never doing Foreman Bonds solo, so there was no turning back.
We're doing 0 damage. I don't want this priest to die. This is stupid. Bombs, double, triple bombs!
So we left off with me ready to introduce the final boss to the Rue of Zar, but before I could even open on the weaponized Stephen Hawking, I had to deal with the first suicide bomber, which we quickly learned wasn't going to work.
I need your damage or we die.
We decided to let the priest deal with the bombs while also healing us, while also apparently tanking, and while it was initially looking more sus than finding hundreds of baby oil bottles in a rapper's house, we discovered that this robot apparently has a kidney.
Nice. Who else would think of kidneying besides Rav?
Which made this too easy, and I wanted to give the viewers what they wanted. A death.
I'm dead!
So I came up with a brilliant idea.
I'm not taking off my staff!
But the power of peer pressure prevailed.
I took it off, I'm punching!
I took mine off too, which did admittedly make the last 10% of the fight deadly.
Bombs, double, triple bombs!
For our random healer.
I don't want this priest to die.
But with it we conquered the metal taint of the gnomes, and you're probably thinking what's left in the game to do after something like that.
I mean, we could do a take all of our clothes off and see how it would play out. I'm actually kind of curious.
I call that bi-curious.
But then I hit the level 30s WoW drought where the levels get slower, the zones look like dehydrated ejaculate, and really nothing of interest happens. Well, actually there was the library incident.
Wait.
Am I gonna get? I can't. Oh my god.
No, you're good. Holy shit.
Oh my god. Dude, okay, maybe you shouldn't have said, hey, let's relive them all yesterday.
And of course there was that time I thought I was in love. Her quiet cleverness coming through. She was the first to compliment my damage despite my crippled hand, me willing to risk my reputation amongst the trolls to be with an undead and show her what a real boner. But we ended up wanting different things. She wanted to level fast while I wanted to know why my quest log was always f***ing full. With that said, there was a problem to address. You see, the trolls were coming out on top every week, which of course did mean that we were the life of the party. But it also meant that we would be blessed with the weekly benefits of winning the dick measuring contest.
Preciously calibrated boomstick, a fiery Lorax, Guardian Custodian, a blood razor, a bow of searing arrows,
Holy fuck!
Terran icebreaker, and an ice mail jerkin. A full epic package.
Ice mail jerking my loot tonight.
This amount of power meant that there would be fights over who would get to lead the trolls.
What is going? I got full kidney! Full kidney!
Oh, there it is, man!
But it also meant that other tribes of trolls would be starting wars with us, and it was on me to respond to the first threat to our tribe's leadership.
Da Blood Scout tribe. They be kidnapping me, son mon. Yes, they got them ginger pubes, man. They be overthrowing the beaches and the jungles, mon. Oh, they not be shutting up about some Julia Chicks Shabathon, man. They be threatening our people, mon. They be starting crypto coins and pump dumping dumb bitches out their money, man.
Turns out they had a full gang strong in numbers, and we all know never to trust a troll with a red mohawk. They had the beaches swarmed, the ones where you can see all the idiots jumping off the Zepp at the wrong time, just wondering what kind of noob is doing such a thing. But jokes aside, any tribe threatening the leadership of the Tusk had to be dealt with. I tell the guy who goes to the same barber as me that I whispered sexual innuendos into every last Blood Scalp's ears, but then he sends me on a messed up mission. He said that he thinks their tribe took his son and wants me to 5-finger discount their stash of shrunken heads so that he can see if any of them are his long-lost son. This would require me to go deep into the ratchet-ass runes where every troll follows the buddy system, and my flailing one-armed DPS would be put on the shot clock in every fight to avoid patrols. After 20 minutes I had gotten more heads than a lopsided coin, and while he was looking through them for his useless dead son, I want to talk about the side quest I was doing during this time. You see, the dwarf who had to play Tarn was going through a content drought, so he needed someone to layer him. Little did he know I would use him as the captive audience for the joke I tried to tell Ompi last year.
Blocking.
He left my ego hurt for a second time, so I had to throw some shade when I left. And a joke is bad when you have to explain it yourself, so I will let Tyler 1 explain it instead.
Said he was going to visit Friend's grave and said he was going to RFD. He means Amelia.
Trying to taunt. Save her. Oh my fucking god.
Run now, Tyler. Run now, Tyler. Run now, Tyler.
Fine.
Jokes aside, I did have to go into the Downs of Razorfin, where I was informed of the damage that I would be doing if I didn't have a gimp arm, and listen to an army of incel simps shouting self-found. Not to mention this other rogue was a modern-day Sherlock Holmes when diagnosing my lack of DPS, and when he found out I was one-armed he must have said, "Dank, 5 less fingers to wear one of these," and stole it from me. But it's okay, because I knew it was only a matter of time before I got my revenge and he would pay the price. Okay, it's not like he died, I just outrolled him on the fleshlight shoulders, every one-armed rogue's coveted prize, but the real reason we were here was to pay respects to the chick I had a short fling with in the Highlands of Arathi. 07 Amelia, and hello to my new main hand. This would be needed, as remember concerned Dad Nimboya? Well, he would now be sending me on a dangerous mission. Into the Bloodscalp area that is so congested you would think Kai Cenat just announced he's hosting a meet and greet there. As a rogue who could barely kill one at a time, I knew I would have to be smart. I Bernie Sanders the first doctor, and then when the second came I threw a bunch of dried oatmeal in his eyes. I then looked at the first clan leader and said, "Without your 2 personal doctors I think your health will start to look dire." The first woke up because I do less damage than a deflated dildo, and he immediately started administering medical care to the leader. I declined the offer to receive about half of their attacks as I missed my kick, lost my combo points, and desk popped a simp stick coming out of the ground instead of attacking the boss. I was close to mojoing myself, but I took down the first of the clan leaders before opting to avoid the price of dealing with doctors or today's healthcare system. But speaking of bosses who got assassinated, I was now ready and waiting for theirs. My plan was to slay the respawns as they came, but there was no avoiding the final group of 3 at once. I figured the plan would be the same: Joe Biden the first and then throw pixie shit in the other's eyes, and as you can see I failed, but the Loa was looking down on me because it turns out that employee clearly hated his boss and was cool with not protecting him, so it was on. And with that, I had single-handedly taken down the tribe leaders, a task that I'm sure others would struggle with even more if they dared to try it. I took their heads back to base, and apparently putting them in some boiling water would let them talk to me. The first skull was not very willing to help.
On Warrior?
Fucker. I've already admitted my mistakes and apologized. Fuck you for coming in here and saying it again after I feel like shit.
I know you feel like shit,
But the second said he would give us more information if we could secure him the sacred piles of skulls representing the hardcore failures of this season. The first representing the unknown elements of hardcore, a lack of familiarity with a new class and the consequences that come from it.
Frick. So dead, bro. God damn it.
The second showed the power of surprise, a lack of knowledge about the game, and a griefing community of degenerates.
Bro, I'm so bad at the game!
And the third, represented by greed, stupidity, and a lack of patience, whereas simply waiting for the right time would be better than rushing in. But the man behind these skulls does no such thing.
Trav, why did you AoE fear, man? Trav, why did you AoE?
I harvested the skulls of the 3 biggest hardcore failures to give as tribute to the leader, who then told me that the information I seek is held south, by one of the deadliest tribe leaders in the Vale. Taller, stronger, and more protected than the other trolls. Many mouth-breathing morons think they can deal with him, not realizing he stuns and executes, only to learn the hard way why this tribe leader is not to be messed with. I knew I wasn't strong enough to take him on alone, as I would likely die in a single stun, so I'd have to give up. But then I saw a hunter. The same class as my father, who apparently also had the positional awareness of dad as well. I saved him and we agreed to fight the leader together, but the whole time I couldn't help feeling a bond between me and this random player. I returned to the speaking pot of soup, where I learned that the Mon's son we had been searching for was killed by a troll named Zanzel. And there would only be one way to end this war and send a message to the other troll tribes. Now Zanzel the outcast is no joke, as many guildies last year were strangled by the thorns of this Vale when attempting to fight him, because he throws a wooden dildo in the ground that spawns a small army, making him one of the deadliest mobs in the area. But he didn't know who he was messing with. The guy who wrangled the deadliest panther in the forest alone. Turns out halfway, and when I failed to put on a band-aid, I had to run, only to think the son of the hardcore avatar would never back away, so I came back, and just to discover that I can keep this tabby more stunned than a young EDP 445 expecting cupcakes.
Using a bow ruins the one-arm RP mage.
And that lets me chug some liquid confidence and delay a bit for cooldowns. And win a fight against a cat by being the bigger pussy. Zanzel may be the leader of these trolls, but he was about to deal with the reason there's not gonna be another Jurassic Park sequel. This is where I met two Roddies, Elixir of Diddy and Cup of Cosby from the guild 5 Nights at Diddy's. Based off their names, I figured these two wouldn't be the type to ask questions, so I told them I need to kill the blue one alone, and after studying the streams of my sweaty WoW ancestors, here is how I did that.
Shooting bow with one arm was epic. How are you using a bow with one hand? If you have one arm, how do you hold the bow? Wouldn't throwing knives be more ideal since it's used with one arm? A one-armed rogue can use a bow? How? Had no one spoken about the fact that he is using a bow? And how that functions with one hand? How can you shoot bow with one hand? One-armed bow user. Are you not technically using two hands when you shoot a bow? Sounds like cheating to me. How do you use a bow with one hand? One arm rogue Using a bow broke my immersion. How are you using a bow with one hand? Bro, you can't use a bow as a one-handed troll. So, you're RPing as a one-armed troll. Who can use a bow? How does that work last time I checked? Bro, why are you using a bow with a broken hand? You can't use a bow with one arm for a troll with only one good arm. He sure is good at using a bow.
Okay, this is just lazy writing. Never in the history of the world has someone shot a bow while missing an arm.
But he held it together.
So for another perfect score. Here goes Matt.
So yeah, Zanzel may be able to summon others at his command, but I too had the respect of others around me. I mean, but he didn't realize that he was being stalked by he who slayed the deadliest tiger in the area. This was slightly complicated as the plan was to kite him to some ramp where I could abuse classic WoW shitty code to confuse his little NPC GPS when he types in my dead ass as the destination, but this proved to be complicated. The first attempt at this I managed to invite one of his nephews to the show, and then every time I would turn around there would be another. I tried to deal with the litter but give the HR department at Tiger Town credit, they would find replacements almost instantly. The very next pull I managed to wrangle the zebra cat to the place where I could play this like a grade A pussy, but little did I know his kids pop out like Chris Hansen, which means Cup of Cosby and Elixir of Diddy definitely wouldn't be helping, but also that I would be failing again. Considering this was hardcore, a normal person would have just given up knowing that the Cincinnati Zoo comes out at 50%, but I was determined and nothing was going to stop me on my next attempt.
I'm out of ammo. Fuck me, man.
Turns out what happens at a Diddy party is that they inform you that thrown weapons are better for this kind of kiting, which means the whole fail RP bow stint that I used just to bait comments out of classic Andes to drive engagement on my YouTube videos was actually holding me back, and this was going to be way easier. That is until S-Fans Left Testicle randomly came in and decided to be the good Samaritan and help, which not only ruined my glory but it also ruined my plan on how to deal with the little kitty cat, so I had to reset for one last attempt. And that's the story of how I became a big gay hunter that was offered 2 rewards that I would never use, because after all a one-armed rogue can't shoot a bow. But with that, it was time for the final showdown with the moan threatening our tribe. In hindsight, my father did this butt-ass naked with a thrown weapon, so I should have known it'd be easy, but it's worth noting that I did find that one troll's son, the reason we went down this tribal World War rabbit hole. Turns out he was a dick, so I killed him. But then it was time to part ways with my cheering section. For legal reasons I can't say we were ever friends, but I can say that you two taught me so much. Like how snowballs can actually save you from fall damage in this game. You see, during the holiday event that turns you into a festive member of the superior faction, you can go into the mountains where there will be an elite Grinch. Don't fight him, as he can repetitively stun you for 5 seconds at a time, and I may or may not have had a close call there, but it's here where you can loot piles of snowballs. Using these typically just makes it look like you creamed yourself, but if you are in a party they have a whole different effect. These never expire and thus can be used at any time to ensure a smooth landing so that you never grayson yourself unexpectedly. And so I bid a final farewell to the lessons learned from Cup of Cosby and Elixir of Diddy, and it was time to move on. To the night I was trading random shit to the local bartender to fuel my alcohol addiction when I hit an important milestone, which meant it was time for some shopping. This meant that I would be able to travel with the utmost swiftness both on ground and through the skies.
You haven't lived until you've looked down on the
But for as fast as I could travel, my kill times were slow, so I had a plan. I would sneak into a fortress and for hours I would level up my ability to open boxes. You see, I read that the best dagger in the game at my level drops from one of these boxes, so I collected dozens with the plan to give you guys the most epic unboxing in WoW YouTube history. But without a good weapon for my one good arm at this level, groups didn't want to bring me along as dungeons were getting harder and I was just a handicap. Even when I would convince others to do hard quests with me, they would just shit themselves and almost die, opting to bail on a fight that we could have clutched if they didn't have Roach bound to every key, then flat out leave the group when we could go straight back in and get our glory, only for me to find out they were talking shit about me behind my back. I had achieved villain status, and for the first time I knew how McConnell felt.
I really support you and your one-armed dream. Because I watch all your videos, man.
But then I learned about the one thing that would get me into groups. The one thing that would make me want it.
I want to run CF and we actually need someone with the mallet today.
The one thing that every group at my level needed. And that's when I decided I was going to get the mallet of Zul'Farrak. Now this is normally something people do in large groups because step 1 involves infiltrating a large heavily guarded staircase where a level 50 elite priest perches at the top. I first had to deal with her Sen'jin Secret Service staff. And then I was ready for the first attempt against her, which proved to be more difficult than I expected. But you know my motto? What happens at a Diddy party, stays at a Diddy.
Health warning. Shit, I forgot about that one.
And that would give me the base of the sacred mallet, but to turn it into the mallet that all groups need I would have to take it to the altar of Zul. Atop a mountain full of hundreds of elites, guarded by stealth detecting wolves that are hard to kill by the most prepared of groups.
Oh my god, last month you're taking so much damage.
But this was a mission for me and me alone. Turns out my master plan of risking my life to retrieve a ZF mallet worked in making me more popular than the 5th grader who's touched a titty, and it's also worth noting at this time I paid half a raptor's worth of gold to become a more well-rounded one-armed rogue. This meant that not only was I getting invited to stand on sand-covered staircases for 30 boring minutes at a time with new groups, but that I could also flex on them in the dick measuring contests.
Did Rav just link his fucking logs? For what dungeon? 48. Oh shit, he's in ZF. That is not his weapon, goddammit.
But the reason groups want someone who has risked their character's life for this mallet is because it summons an extra boss if someone hits this gong, and that's where I would shine. We slayed the beast who was just trying to take a vacation from guarding the Philosopher's Stone at Hogwarts, who dropped its scale. Something that this absolute panty-soaking stud muffin would be willing to give me the best trinket in the game. And in case you are curious of what 3% feels like in this game, here is a side-by-side comparison. Then I met up with a Mr. D's nuts first name goblin who told me about his stepsister being stuck in a washing machine, but he left out the part where it was in the back of some cave with more bugs than the hitbox code of Onyxia's attunement dragons in Stormwind. I came to the decision that not clearing an escape route out of this homicidal honeycomb of a quest was wise, all while my handy-dandy guide that has been the #1 thing preventing me from starring in the movie Surprise You're a Dead Bitch is telling me to be extremely cautious about swarmers because they give birth at record-breaking rates and can easily social aggro half the cave. So when I find the washing machine, which by the way had no scantily clad slut stuck in it, I knew I had to kill quickly or the poisons they put on would ruin my chances of vanishing to safety. But speaking of deadly caves with big bugs, it was now time for me to enter the confusing colorful mess known as Moradon. There was another guild rogue in the group, one of the double-armed species, so I knew this run would serve as an audition for my raid spot amongst the rogues in MC. The group was being led by the Tsar of the Sweats, the Tsar Dako, who was willing to make risks to preserve his leveling speed.
If you need this pulls, Volps, can you just Nova and we just keep running?
I was obeying orders, which meant running through aggroed elites in caves, but the other rogue learned not to mess with Mr. Min-Maxer himself.
No. You don't want to pour the vial on the flashers?
There's 7 more flowers ahead of us that are on our route.
Right.
That one is outside of our route and would slow us down by 30 seconds.
I mean, this...
Only for this silver spoon non-crippled rogue to call me out on the next pack.
He is scared. Come on. Nothing bad can happen.
While I was out DPSing his Walmart payo sounding ass. My performance was building the trust of Daddy Dako.
Rav, you need to go up there and click that larva spewer.
I hesitated because I couldn't tell if he was baiting me into this intestine shitting out a can of whoop ass onto me.
So you stalling there just put us in danger. Because another one just spawned.
I couldn't put my finger on why he thought I was holding up the group.
Let's get it, big damage right here.
I streamed the event and we did that share your Twitch chat bullshit, so I figured it would be funny to see if I can make him nervous, so throughout the dungeon his chat was full of messages like this. It didn't work because he knew when he would make calls like this, I would be there to serve.
We need massive amounts of damage to the Barb Lasher.
Now for those who don't know, there's a bit of tension in the guild between the RPers and the Sweats, but Sardico seemed to stay neutral in this war by RPing as the biggest sweat.
Using the bathroom during RP for maximum efficiency?
That's one way to stay on everyone's good side.
I know you feel like shit, but I'm actually offering you help and I'm encouraging you to take it.
No.
That said, we all relied on his leadership, like when the inferior rogue of the group did this. Which did this.
Bro,
He pulled.
Oh shit.
Okay, these guys.
Everything.
He was calmer than a sloth at Snoop Dogg's house.
Kill the Hydra quickly. Just be careful. I'm gonna mark another one. You need to always hit the target that's marked with the skull. The sooner we kill the skull, the less damage that goes out on the group. Yeah, I marked a new skull so you can change target soon. Healer's gonna be here, but we looks like we're good. Yeah, on those mobs, you guys did good. The healers stay away from us so they don't get silenced.
Turns out this would be needed in an all-melee group on the last boss. A giant diabetic hobbling around in her third trimester whose picture is in the dictionary next to the word thrash.
Let's get it.
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm gonna Will of Forsaken that first fear. Okay, that's a fart. Don't go in right now. Bandage yourself on the farts if you can. Okay, Vulture, you need to blink through her and come to me. Try to be real conservative with your heals. Okay, Reeds is feared. I'm feared. I can't Zerker this. Vulture kiting for now. Okay, big damage. We need big damage right here. Okay, I have threat. Okay, Reeds, I'm taunting off you now. Going to target dummy for a second. Okay, I'm kiting as best I can here. We have to kite. She's gonna be super slow. Let Volps kill her and just throwing weapon for now.
She dropped a gigabis ring, but I figured it would be more appreciated by the man min-maxing his piss breaks, and plus I wanted the good karma for when my boots dropped from the next boss.
Scratch, boys.
Let's go. Good luck, Rav.
But it's all good because the real reason I was there was to tell the story of how I killed She Who Thrashes, which would earn me the famous Thrash Blade.
I can't carry anymore.
A few days later, some elves were telling me that the Scarlet Crusade has nothing on the one that's burning, which I guess was some foreshadowing back in 2004, but all it meant right now is that I would be fighting for tags in this burnt carrot cake of a zone for the next 3 hours, and guess who the fuck I would be competing against?
Using the bathroom during RP for maximum efficiency?
He was too busy planning out his next piss to realize that his literal best friend who carried the DPS meters in his Mara group was here as I kept appearing in the background like the villain in a horror movie. My cringy ass thought it would be funny to run back and forth on his screen with mobs chasing me screaming bloody murder, but at one point he attacked one which put him in a situation.
I might have to pot right here. This is probably not a good pull. I'm gonna hit one of my smaller pots.
That required a hero.
This guy is like absolutely getting me killed right now. I tried to fear that mob so I could go bandage and he attacked it. That was Rav. Oh, that's Rav that almost got me killed. You attacked my fear. It broke. I almost died. I was like, who is this idiot right here attacking my feared mob? And it was Rav.
That said, if I were to get cancelled for something, it wouldn't be for accidentally getting Sardico killed. It would be for being boys with that one orc Belgrom.
What's worse, I trusted a woman. Cancelled.
He meant to say he trusted a body type too, but the backstory is he started up a real estate project with some blood elf in Ashara, which is basically like the New Jersey of Azeroth. But she cut him out of the lease, and now the misogynist has a bunch of idle employees in the area jerking each other off, wasting his money. I didn't really care until I found out she ripped off one of my midget homeboys as well.
Of course they turned on me and tried to kill me.
Which meant it was about to be war.
Dude, I used to call it foe, and my friend's like, a bitch is pho, and I was like, oh.
I found her little Ouija board study circle and started fighting one of her simps, which was half her Mina Snacks consumer base, so I knew it would bait the bitch out. We flicked each other's nipples back and forth until there was just one thing left to do. Until there was just one thing left to do. It was at this point where my guide that you can get 20% off with the link below code RAVFRESH was like, this is hardcore and you are underleveled, so it'd be wise to grind for the next hour of your life, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna deliver this severed head in my backpack to my old friend to see if he's less of a brand risk to hang out with now.
Look at you now, pathetic woman. I spit on your remains.
I told the real estate story to my homeboy Marvin, who was like, I bet Belgram would tell you the best way to make cash in 2025 is to pay wall pics of your tits on the internet and then to flirt with big streamers so you can wear low-cut tops on their streams to not so slyly promote your pages to impressionable pervs, but my goblin secret is to just steal treasure from a temple. The first dungeon that many players skip because of how deadly it is. A temple that has sunken under the ground with no way to escape. With the deadliest of bosses waiting at the end.
I warn you though, adventurer, great evil lies in the temple.
And that's where I would be headed next. Damn, Daniel back at it again with a sunken temple, which according to the data gets skipped by 97% of players who have no balls in hardcore, because even the best WoW player in the world suffers casualties in his group while attempting it. Apparently having a hunter is almost required, so you are probably thinking me attempting it with this group was just a joke. But actually there was a bit of drama, as I quickly learned that me inviting him to my group made me the other woman.
And I'm just like excited to do our squad that we talked about. Joker, main tank, Guzu, Savix, we grab a healer. I'm ready to go real soon here.
But then Joker saw Zari reacting and he was like, I'm just gonna play with Rav. But then he's not talking in the Discord, so Zari's gonna be upset because you want a tank, right?
And if I cause any drama, I will actually have to talk to Ms. Kiff, and I wasn't going to risk that, so he got the boot and I replaced with a bear, who went AFK mid-fight 5 minutes into the dungeon. We tried to diagnose the problem. I had him open up and say as we had to fend off numerous patrolling trundles without our tank. 6 eternities later he finished jerking off and we solved some Zelda-type puzzle to unlock some bullshit by circle jerking some underground collection of snake statues in the right order. The rooms looked like laser tag load-in lobbies, the bosses looked like Wailing Caverns trash, and the trash was tripping on bath salts, as I had no clue what I was doing, so all I could do was rely on my group knowing the mechanics. But then it was just time for the final boss. So I guess you could say we floated through that sunken temple. But it was now time to do something even more sus, which was to harvest samples of super sticky stuff from Lakari's tar pits, and based on its name I figured the mobs would be quite unpredictable. The whole time I was thinking, why deal with this shit drop rate when you could harvest a whole colony of super sticky stuff straight from Lakari's chair itself.
Wow, Lakari! What the hell was that?
But I'd way rather hang out in the jizz-covered Lakari hot springs than what I found in Golakas. That said, as I got closer to 60 I was starting to get nostalgic of my Alliance days. My own faction wanted nothing to do with my crippled contributions, so I resorted to communicating the way my father taught me to recruit one of those Coldridge Chotas to work together. Little gnome hotties with bodies were making me wish I was one myself, while I was finding myself doing deadly as fuck honeydews for members of the opposite faction. One of them involved me spelunking into a demon-polluted coal mine, deeper than a dish pizza from Detroit, with every step meaning less and less chance of escaping if I overpull or if something goes wrong, until I found the human who I was looking for. The man who thought it was a good idea to pledge the Fellwood fraternity without realizing what kind of hazing they would put him through, and now it was my job to bail him out.
You gather the Paladin's remains as carefully as order of Fellwood International.
At the very back of the cave there was the Dan Bilzerian of demons, surrounded by his two bottom bitches, and some virgin incel was willing to pay me a good amount of cash to give these twins some major thong wedgies.
Whoops.
But while I was proving that no castle or cave could take me down, a crusade was about to send a ripple through our one and only Fang. Seeing as it's my thing to avenge my teammates, I initially vowed to declare war against these scarlet shitters by vandalizing some of their property. But it turns out the leader I was avenging wasn't the leader anymore.
I have been fully made aware that I am not fit to lead this guild, having died a dog's death. I will step down as guild leader until I once again reach level 60. I could poll it, but I know everyone wants to be Tyler. So I am doing nothing anymore. I am done with all of it until I'm 60. So my notes, I don't need anymore. Tribute chest, nope. Done with all of it. He's Guildmaster. All right.
Plus if I was avenging every dumb death I'd have to fight off the scourge too.
I'm dead! I'm actually...
As it was now time to listen to my new leader.
I forgot what I just said. Somebody remind me what I just said. Next, I'm hungry. I have pizza rolls, please. I don't see how anybody is bad enough to die ever, just so we're clear.
It was obvious that his whole platform was based around everyone playing more WoW.
2 dungeons a day. 2 dungeons a day?
Which meant disappearing for 11 days wasn't the best call, but when it comes to having a new boss I practiced something called mirroring. So when he said,
I have a daughter.
I decided to have one of those as well, which meant the next time I would be on I would have tons of rest state, and as long as I don't die I would be fine.
Health warning.
But knowing if I die right before raid this year I can't go again, I would have to level the safest way that's ever been discovered.
Log in and stay in the forest, killing boars. Boars?
Until I needed just one last boar, the same one that haunted my father's pet pig. And thus I single-handedly conquered my challenge, and there was just a few things left to do. The first was to end this self-found suffering, a curse that I put upon myself because of comments from a bunch of inept simpletons. But after seeing how fun a real rogue without these restrictions can be, it was finally time to turn it off. That said, my other handicap remained, as at the beginning of the journey I stated I could never wield a weapon in that arm again. But there was one thing that my hand was still strong enough to hold, in honor of my father, to keep me safe from the hardcore elements and the dangers ahead. In terms of level I was now the oldest I would ever be, which meant a few things. First, it turns out that hitting 60 in hardcore not once or twice but 3 times earned me a cordial invite to Gingy's $25,000 rooftop guide to passive income, aka the Creator Plunderstorm Tournament, aka the event that Papa Soda was forced to hate watch.
Who the f decided to not sponsor me to play this Plunderstorm tourney?
While most people don't realize that a pink-haired ninny muggins of his size would cost an arm and a leg to sponsor, Blizzard could offer me 6 jizzed on crackers and I would say sign me up. I'll even throw a Raid Shadow Legends mention in, so here we were. The only thing is, on one end you had the multi-year rank 1 dual gladiator highly synergistic AWC AG1 champions.
Okay, 2 squads left, 2 squads left. Dorky. Yep. I'm chill. I'm getting in there, I'm finishing it.
And then on the other end you have a multi-year silver hard-stuck League of Legends lactose intolerant player who had to watch the tutorial before the event, so here was my contribution.
How is he level 5 already?
Shit. Fandy's on me.
Turns out I just had to place my blind trust in my guildies to succeed.
He's yelling truth!
Rab is here.
Okay,
Okay, I'm dragging him.
Should we let him live?
No! Kill him!
Okay, fuck, dude. I'm sorry, Rab.
No truces!
Dude, Goose,
we're gonna kill him, man. It is what it is.
I'm sorry, man. He's gonna not be happy about that.
He's not gonna be happy. He hates you forever now.
So ignoring the fact that the only 2 teams I beat were either titty streamers or Roblox players, I was more concerned with getting invited to a different event.
What about, okay, I'm just gonna throw out names. Are we gonna bring Rav?
We can. I'm totally down to bring Rav. He's playing Rogue. Tyler doesn't know Rav.
I don't know who Rav is.
I don't know who Rav is. Rav was basically our big YouTuber that we had from last OnlyFangs. His story hasn't been as popular this OnlyFangs around.
Not as popular until I dropped my take on the pirate software situation 2 weeks after it had already been beaten into the ground for all the losers that just can't possibly shove enough drama dick in their mouths at once.
But he was a massive character last time.
Oh, he has a kid?
He had a kid recently.
Yeah, he had a kid.
Add him to the fucking list.
So there you have it. I was officially the DEI hire of this year's raid on account of having a kid.
Bro, I got 4 kids!
But this meant I would have to experience the Horde's version of the only attunement, which I assumed is about as fun as crab walking naked through North Korea with a GoPro strapped to your head, as I would take the Alliance version over it any day of the week. But with limited time to get attuned, this meant I would be giving new meaning to one-armed rogue gameplay. But to summarize this giant torture simulator of a quest chain, you have to get 10 butt buddies into the spires of Black Rock Upper Edition to behead a bitch named Rend. Then you book a Southwest flight to dehydrated Jizzville to get your Fitbit steps in, looking for some washed up huntard who says, "Great, but I have a weird fetish for eyeballs." So now you have to get 10 more people together and go straight back to that same spire and sit in there for hours praying that people actually loot their mobs so that you can get these before you die of old age. Then just sit on flight paths for an eternity until you are living in a year where identifying as dragons is a thing now. Here you will be told to travel to every edge of the globe doing random Drake stuff, but I'm more of a Kendrick guy, so find the Hearthstone card again in the zone that some Blizzard dev turned the color saturation down to depression levels in, and now you get the privilege of finding 10 more people to do the same goddamn dungeon that you've downed 35 times already. At this point I couldn't find another group, mainly because
His story hasn't been as popular this OnlyFangs around.
So I took a break to whisper every living soul on the planet, hoping to shortcut my way through the other bullshit attunement I needed, which long story short revealed that I have no clue how instance IDs actually work in this game. At this point I was defeated, stuck on diaper duty, and down in the dumps until I saw a whisper from singer-songwriter actor wide receiving wedding dancing white boy Sardako, the clear-cut winner of this year's surprise Secret Life award that no one had on their bingo card, as all that's left is an OnlyFans alias of him getting pegged in 2021. As sketchy as that sounds, but he graciously let me strap onto his group, where all I had to do was play one more round of Where's Waldo, and 8 hours later I was attuned, which meant there was just one last thing left to do.
This is the moment we've all been waiting so long for. We've sweat blood, blood, shed tears. We've lost so many good members of the guild. We've been through ups and downs all together. We've come so close as a family for one moment. Are you ready? Yes!
Turns out Phase 1 was a snooze fest, and even though I was try-harding to get Phase 2 over with, it bugged out, and that's when shit hit the fan.
Don't stand in front, don't stand behind. Oak has threat still.
Heal me! Heal me! Heal me! Heal poke! Heal poke! I'm dead! Heal poke!
Oak is down. Keep going. Keep pumping. Oak is down. Keep going.
Finish it! Finish it! Finish him!
Kill it. It's dead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry you guys died.
But I've been told that even with 2 deaths, the saddest thing about that fight was my performance.
What is this, 8%? Why does it say 8% or like nil? Rav has 1 arm? Ah, really? Oh, sorry about that. Actually.
Now as we get into MC, I know a lot of people wanted a full breakdown, but as a Wictus of Swap once said,
core element of gameplay is standing and hitting.
So the following is a 6-hour raid condensed into the parts that personally gave me a slight content boner. For starters, since I was disabled and did next to no pre-bis farming, my strategy to parse was slightly out of the box.
I need you to change your name to mine on details just for the first boss. Shut the fuck up.
And while the first room of trash went well, we met our first hiccup,
Star. Here comes. It's gonna start surging.
Oh shit!
Ooh, Ompy goes down. We're gonna.
which turned out to be Ompy's way of flexing that he knows how to lava jump without taking damage, but it turns out there was actual real danger ahead.
All right, remember that one clip where we saw the entire raid wipe because they got imps and a surger? Here we are.
My body pulled it, that's good.
Banished surger, banished surger,
It's banished,
and
it's
kill the
banished.
imps. AoE. I'm AoE taunting and I'm lipping. That works. Banish it.
Perfect gameplay. Nice job, guys.
All right.
Nice call, nice call.
And now that everyone was fully puckered, it was time for the first boss. Which was a joke, but surely the next boss would be harder. That was a joke as well. It's almost like bosses are easier than trash for us.
Nothing happens. If it does, I'll AoE taunt.
Oh sh!
To the left.
My WoW dad facebulled, and based off of his facial expressions it looks like he went from playful popsicle to panicked real fast.
Taunting.
I actually didn't see it.
Banish, banish it, banish the surger.
We need
Oh my god!
AoE taunt.
I'm gonna help with this.
It's a good one. It's fine. It's fine. It's ancient hysteria. It's all fine. Don't worry about it.
I always taunted.
Don't worry about it. It's ancient despair. Doesn't matter. That was close.
But hey, at least we didn't have another close call 2 minutes later.
Precaution.
I'm taunting.
Holy shit. Very
Good call though. Actually, good. That was a really good.
What the fuck?
It's on Miz.
Can we lock the
It was at this point where I was realizing that I had been put in the remedial melee group without Wind Fury, and if I didn't want to be known for this,
What is this? 8%?
I would have to bribe the people in positions of power. Which worked until 1 minute later I was moved back, but we found an agreeable solution. That said, I wasn't ready for the responsibility that came with the power that came from Wind Fury.
Rav, watch yourself, you fucking idiot.
I didn't fap.
Bad threat. It's dodging. It's dodging. It's okay. Pull it away.
I got it. I got him.
Holy fuck.
The next boss, I got a debuff that made me slower than a miskiffed Twitch viewer, and turns out listening to the strategy beforehand would have been a good idea. But we killed the Geodude Arsonist, and Abyss Dagger was now up for grabs to the highest roller. Then after 2 decades of 40 streamers trying to talk over each other in Discord, we were back in the core that molts and ready to pull the boss that a single person can wipe the whole raid, which in hardcore means, you do not want to be the person that gets the debuff.
Please let him get it, spot. Please, please.
We're standing right fucking here. I got a shield on. Watch threat. All right, it's fun time. Okay, stand a little. Rav corner now. Living bomb on Rav. Pre-shield if we can. Nice, big pre-shields. Run away. Everyone out. Everyone
I
out.
even snowballed to avoid fall damage, so I don't think Papa Soda's evaluation of that fight was fair.
I cannot pick a worse setup of people to have gotten living bomb.
But hey, wasn't the first time he graded my performance incorrectly.
65%. And I feel like I was lenient too. Way more lenient on Rav than anyone else.
And even though things were going smoother than a lubed up axolotl, our luck was about to change.
Oh my god, Fanny's dead.
I tried to pay my respects to the loss of one of our breast healers, but some huntard was standing on her corpse, and if you ask me,
That is fucked up.
but hey, I say tomato, you say potato, but it turns out that wasn't our last death.
I have the Annihilator. My threat is horrible. My threat is horrible. My threat is horrible. It's all over on me.
Yo!
No. Zombie is down.
I will find a way to avenge this one, Dad. Anyways, it was now our turn to deal with the World Health Organization, and I wanted to be first in line to tell their boss that red meat is not the problem, but turns out he just let his employees die in front of him, which was a bit of poetic karma because later his own boss killed him, and thus we meet again, my favorite lava lamp.
Alright.
Beat his ass!
Can I get a demo shout on Rag? I don't think it matters, but 8. You got time.
I don't see shit. I don't see shit.
I have no taunt. taunting it. My threat is horrible right now. Alright, melee back in, melee back in. Keep going. If you got knocked, it's okay. Find your way back. Keep
Melee out.
melee out, please.
Oh no! No!
It's on Tyler. Heal Tyler. Heal Tyler. I'm on the arm.
Gunner.
Gunner's dead.
Do it!
Let's go!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
And with that, we completed our first raid, but unlike last year, it would not be our last. This was just the beginning of our battles, as many more would lose their lives in our quest to clear the raids, to show another League of Legends player what it's like to play a not dog shit game, and to grow stronger as a family of loud, annoying, main character syndrome streamers. And I'm gonna lie to you, I think we can do it all.